On est de retour à cette semaine aux courses. Bien heureux de recevoir sur l'émission un des pilotes les plus en vue dorénavant sur les circuits de course de terre battue. Il court autant en modifié gros bloc, en modifié 358. On le retrouve en late model également. Il nous vient de Potsdam, New York. Et c'est Dirty Mike, Michael Maresca, qui est avec nous. Mike, how are you doing, my friend? Thanks for being with us.
Oh, I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here, and everything's going pretty good.
And especially on the basis of results, you have already a win under your belt in Bridgeport a couple of weeks ago. So you've been racing quite a bit for the last couple of weeks already.
Yeah, we've had a interesting start of the season. I've had some pretty good runs. You know, we had a good speed week in Florida and a good couple races at Bridgeport there. Had a couple bad nights too. You know, up and down, but overall we've been fairly consistent in the top 10, top 5 with a couple wins. So I'm pretty satisfied right now. Just gotta, you know, kind of get all the bugs sorted out before, I guess, you know, the normal season starts up here pretty soon. So I'm feeling pretty good about it, though.
We're showing right now a couple of highlights of your win in Bridgeport a couple of weeks ago. This is a brand new track, if I could say something like this. They changed the configuration of the racetrack a couple of years ago, and now it's a brand new racetrack, and it's so impressive to see the modifieds running on that track, and you seem really comfortable each and every time that you move out there, even though it's pretty far from your house.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little bit of a ride down there, but the track is worth going to. Once the border opens, I hope all you guys can get down there. It's worth the trip. The racing there is really good. The whole facility is super nice. You know, it's a place you can start in the back and you can get to the front quick, and you can win. It's a interesting track, you know, with the way it races. It's actually sort of similar to Cornwall, the way that the racing groove kind of moves around, and you kind of chase the brown until it gets slippery all the way, and you kind of start floating the track on the middle to outside. But yeah, I enjoy going there.
Right, Mike, let me translate a bit for French listeners. Mike Maresca qui nous parle de son début de saison, connu un certain succès, une victoire entre autres en Floride dans la série à Volusia et récemment du côté de Bridgeport sur le nouveau circuit qui est très impressionnant. Honnêtement, ça donne un excellent spectacle. Il apprécie beaucoup de rouler là-bas. Il a remporté une course tout récemment lors de leur ouverture de saison, un endroit où c'est très incliné en virage. On peut se montrer agressif. Et il y a énormément de dépassements aussi. Il compare aussi, même s'il est plus grand, la piste de Bridgeport avec le circuit de Cornwall où il a l'habitude de rouler fréquemment. What are you expecting for season, Mike? I know that you've been running the late model. You're running for a couple of different race teams in the modified as well. So you're going to stay busy all year long. And depending of the border situation, you will see what you can do racing pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, that's the plan. You know, race between, you know, the big block stuff, the 358 stuff, the American racer stuff, pretty busy. I'm going to try and go to Utica Friday nights. I'm definitely going to go to Fonda Saturday nights. And any other, you know, good paying races that make sense for me to go to, I'm going to go to. I'm running the whole short track super series, the South Tour for Gary Simpson in the 12K car. And other than that, you know, just kind of a similar schedule like I've ran the past couple of years. Anything that looks appealing or looks like a good show where we can go and do well, we're going to go to.
Mike qui nous précise un petit peu quel sera son horaire du temps pour la prochaine saison 2021. Il va être très actif, va évidemment consacrer beaucoup de son temps pour les grosses courses de la saison, les courses les plus payantes. Il est inscrit à temps plein dans la Short Track Super Series, la région sud, pour cette voiture numéro 12K qui appartient à Gary Simpson. Et il sera un pilote régulier maintenant les vendredis soirs du côté de Utica et le lendemain du côté de Fonda, là où il a connu connu beaucoup de succès, où il est le champion en titre. We've just showed one of your rides, the 12K Gary Simpson owned modified that you're gonna run in the Short Track Super Series South region. This is a new association since last year for you, Mike. When a driver gets more success, well, sometimes car owners will want to hire you. So can you talk about your new association with this owner who's been well known for a lot of years in the modified ranks?
Yeah, it's been a really cool deal. So Gary called me at the end of last year, and we talked about doing something, and it all came together. He's a really great guy, really great team. Ricky Elliott's the crew chief, really smart. We have 2 brand new DKM cars. They're 4-link cars. We've got we have open small blocks, Pro Power Chevys. We have really good stuff. We're figuring out the 4-link thing as we go. Some nights we struggle a little bit, but we've overall been pretty happy with it. And making, hopefully by the end of the year, when there's like the really big paying races, we can get those guys a big win that they deserve.
Alors, il nous parle de cette voiture 12K qui appartient à Gary Simpson, qui est un propriétaire de voitures de course bien reconnu depuis plusieurs années. C'est une voiture DKM qu'il apprend à apprivoiser. C'est avec cette voiture-là, d'ailleurs, qu'il a gagné à Bridgeport tout récemment. Donc, il souhaite évidemment connaître le plus de succès possible plus la saison va avancer au niveau de sa saison. Mike, I just want you to explain to us what would be the biggest differences between switching back and forth between the modified and the late model. You've been really active the last couple of years with the late model, which is a completely different agenda, complicated race car to drive. What would be for you the biggest adjustments when you step in both of these different cars?
For me, I guess the biggest thing really is the late model. It steers a little bit quicker. In where you sit, you sit on the left side and the wheel's like up close to you. But other than that, once you kind of get used to like the overall feeling of it, and once you get the feel in the car, they drive actually pretty similar. They're not too much different. And as far as the adjustments you make on the car, really not much different than a modified, especially since the modifieds have went to, coil springs and everything. We're doing a lot of the same things on the modified that the late models do. Obviously there's a few differences, but a lot of the same adjustments, and you drive the car pretty similar.
Would you compare the competition between the late model ranks and the modified? Is it harder to win on a regular basis with the late model or with the modifieds?
I don't think there's any difference really. I think the weekly racing for modifieds is stronger. Like if you go to a local race, it's stronger in the modifieds, just because, there's more late models, there's more tracks like spread out. Whereas modifieds, there's a pretty central group of guys that are really good, and you end up having to race against a lot of good cars at a weekly show. Where in a late model, if you go to a weekly show, there's usually not as many good cars. But on like the National Touring Series, I think it's just as hard to win Super Dirt Series race as it would be to win like a Lucas race or World of Outlaws race. I don't think there's any difference in the competition in like the national level.
Mike, il nous parle de son aventure avec les late models, lui qui s'amuse vraiment entre les deux catégories de véhicules, un peu comme le fait Stuart Friesen dorénavant cette année. Il nous parle des différences, entre autres le fait qu'on soit assis différemment dans la voiture late model comparativement aux modifiés, mais qu'il existe de plus en plus de similitudes entre les deux catégories de voitures, d'autant plus que dorénavant chez les modifiés, on a adopté beaucoup la suspension en ressort dorénavant qui s'apparente un petit peu plus à ce qu'on retrouve avec le late model. Il compare aussi la situation sur les pistes locales. Il dit que c'est plus difficile probablement de gagner de façon régulière sur les pistes locales en modifié comparativement au late model, mais qu'au niveau national, c'est excessivement difficile de l'emporter compte tenu de la qualité des pelotons, autant avec les World of Outlaw que chez les Lucas Oil late model. Mike, you're still a young driver. I tend to place you in this category of young upstart drivers that will eventually be the cream of the crop in the modified ranks. You've been winning more recently, and this is trending in the right direction. How do you foresee yourself in the next couple of years building your racing career?
That's a good question. With the way everything's going, there's a lot of really good races that pay a lot of money. That I'd just like to win in the next couple of years. I think that's kind of, as far as the weekly stuff goes, it's important to win a lot of those races too, and win some track championships and stuff. But really, I want to focus on winning a lot of the bigger races, longer distance races, series races, stuff like that. I think I've kind of gotten pretty good at the 30 lap deal, and I've won some longer distance races too, but I just want to keep winning those and kind of winning those prestigious races as we go until eventually, I can win the really big ones like Dirt Week and stuff like that. But until then, want to keep winning big races that we choose and go to and are prepared for.
Mike, il nous parle justement de ses projets futurs à court, moyen terme, se voit de plus en plus devenir parmi les meilleurs de sa catégorie, d'avoir la chance de gagner les épreuves les plus prestigieuses. Il sent vraiment que les choses s'en vont dans la bonne direction à ce niveau-là. Are you considering or watching the situation in the modified ranks where some drivers aren't getting younger? We just talked about Alan Johnson, who just won a race for a 47th consecutive year. This is quite an achievement. I don't know if you want to drive a car for 50 years, but this is something for Alan Johnson to still being there at that age and still winning. Is there other young drivers just like you wants to be race car driver and be there for a long time that would eventually take the torch and be the next dominant drivers of your new generation?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's what we're all shooting for. We all want to be the next Stuart Friesen or Billy Decker or Matt Shepard or whatever. And I think there's a lot of good young drivers that are on their way up. Max McLaughlin's consistently really fast. Danny Buck's really fast. He's younger. Down there. There's a ton. Demetrius Strelos is always fast. Jack Lehner's getting better. He's always fast. And then there's definitely a lot of younger talent. I feel that we're kind of starting to come into our own and getting a little bit better each year. To obviously Matt Williamson, he's a good bit older than me, but those guys and Eric Rudolph, are kind of, I'd say, like almost like a class ahead of me as far as age goes. But yeah, I mean, we're all kind of fighting for that top spot. And I think it's going to continue for a lot of years. There's going to be a lot of competition as those other guys get older. And yeah.
Mike, il nous parle justement de la relève de son sport. Il dit que ça ne l'inquiète pas trop parce que plusieurs pilotes qui sont appelés à prendre le relais, des meilleurs pilotes qui ont été au sommet de leur art au cours des 20 ou 25 dernières années. Maintenant, il y en a d'autres qui prennent le relais et souhaitent évidemment en faire partie. At the end of this interview, my friend Mike, I just want to make a parallel between your racing deal in the U.S. and your friends here in Quebec. I know that you've made a couple of friends. Kevin is one of them here in Quebec. What happened for you with our friends in Quebec? What happened in Syracuse? Something must have happened because you've been the best of friends since then.
Yeah, we've had I've met some really good friends. Kevin on the show and Kevin, well, both Kevins, I'm sure and it got to be Kevin was one of my best friends, and this whole border, when people ask me with COVID what's been the biggest difference for me racing, I guess the biggest thing is I haven't been able to see my friends. Kevin and I got to be really, really good friends. We've had a lot of adventures. Yeah. Both Kevins, so we've had a lot of good times. I miss seeing my friends up there and racing up there, and they've helped me on my car a bunch and come here and stayed at the house and everything else. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. You know, I have a lot of friends in Quebec, and I like going up there and racing. I really do. I like the racetracks and I like the people, and I like to race against, you guys have really good drivers up there. The Berniers, Steve Bernard, David Hebert, all those guys, Mario Claire. You guys have a ton of really good talent up there and great drivers, and it's fun to go up there and race and see how we shake out against them at their home tracks. So, but yeah, I definitely miss all my Quebec friends a lot. It hasn't been the same since they're not around, and we've definitely had some good times together. And once this is all over, we're gonna have to cut her loose and see what kind of trouble we can get in.
Yeah, and when the border will be finally open, you've been welcomed with open arms at our track for sure. Mike Maresca, thank you for your time. Best of luck for the 2021 season. This is really looking good for you right now. You're one of the best young drivers going on, and it's been a pleasure to receive us on our show.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on.
See you soon. Michael Maresca qui était avec nous, qui a déjà d'ailleurs une victoire au Québec avec les Modifiés. Il l'avait emporté à Saint-Guillaume il y a de cela quelques années, notamment plusieurs bons amis au Québec qu'on salue d'ailleurs. Et on espère bien sûr que la situation à la frontière puisse lui permettre de revenir chez nous. On va faire une courte pause comme ça. Et au retour de la pause, on va jaser de NASCAR un peu. Ça se passait du côté de Martinsville en fin de semaine pour les séries Xfinity et Cup NASCAR. On revient.